All right, Luke. First, I think if you've seen an alien or a UFO, you should just tell us. Because I've seen one too, and it just means I don't know. It was a light in the sky, looked like an LED light, and it sort of shot pretty fast, but in such a way that it didn't leave like a trail, so it didn't look like a shooting star, a meteorite. Um, so it wasn't necessarily aliens, but it was a UFO. Um, so I don't necessarily think claiming that the aliens live among us is that crazy. Or maybe that they live among us and shapeshift. That's all. I mean, that seems like extra. It'd be just as amazing to say that they're watching us or something. But anyways, I didn't really want to talk about aliens. I just wanted to, I guess, give my thoughts about um, what my YouTube experience is like in comparison to yours, because I think it's somewhat similar. But um, this idea of the winds of criticism, um, tearing down our ideas, I think that's important. But they don't necessarily have to be violent winds of criticism. The winds can be creative, and we can build ideas together. We don't all need to only present our own thoughts. I mean, the whole point of communicating is to pursue truth, like you said. But truth is something that we have to agree upon. So to some extent, truth is an agreement between people. It's not all it is, because no one person can make up the truth and convince others unless it's really somehow true. And of course, I mean, this goes back to mind control, I guess, that people can be convinced of beliefs that are obviously false, and yet it still convinces them somehow. Maybe there's something different between presenting a program to somebody or trying to hypnotize somebody and trying to communicate with somebody. And that's just the variety of, that's the full spectrum of tools that we can create with our language, that we can affect people in so many different ways using the same words, just directed at them in a different way. Or taking a different attitude about how we're talking and how we're speaking and what the goal of our exposition is, or whatever the point is we're trying to prove, or if we're trying to prove a point, or if we're just trying to communicate. And the real uh, crazy, unbelievable claim that I wanted to make wasn't really aliens, but it was more about what communication is, because I don't think we really fundamentally consider that as much as we should, because I think it's Sartre said hell is other people, and I disagree, but I can understand why he would say that, because other people are really other. You try to understand yourself, right? And then there's all these other people that are just as intelligent and alive and thoughtful as you are, and you realize you can't, if you're honest with yourself at least, you can't understand them. And then you realize, well, then if I can't understand them, how am I going to understand myself? What basis do I have to go off of? What makes a person? You don't have any examples of people. Who are you gonna you know model yourself after? So just putting ideas onto video and putting them on the internet, I think, does tear down ideas. But it also, if we allow for the fact that these ideas aren't really our own, and if we're willing to surrender them to the global community or or the planetary consciousness, or to whoever's using the internet and watching these videos. They're not really our ideas anymore. They're not a personal thing. And I think that's what you're saying about not attacking people based on their past and just listening to their ideas. Because if we give up, if we communicate with each other and allow our ideas to be impersonal in a sense, because they exist on this higher plane that's beyond just my person. My words speak for themselves, so to speak. And my person, my own personal history doesn't necessarily have to tinge everything that I speak, everything that I say. But at the same time, I mean, it seems like it's an impersonalization of language, but really, it allows people to communicate. So it brings everybody down to this, or up to maybe this communal level of awareness and interdependence. So in that way, it's not. It's almost more of a subtle form of communication. So you're almost more sensitive. So to call it impersonal maybe doesn't characterize it right exactly. It just becomes more of a transcendental thing. Language becomes more transcendental. That might be an important thing, but I also think that's not something that's something we have to educate people to do, because some people are already educated enough to do that. And I do think it's a matter of education, not intelligence. Intelligence is something that's like a innate function of biology and upbringing, which is education too. But the state education system and kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, they're teaching us, first of all, how to read and write, how to use our culture, basically, how to get around in it and how to shape it in the ways we want to shape it and frame things the way we want to frame them. And so they're teaching us how to build boxes and concepts and, build a map of the world so that we can follow it and be a good citizen of the republic or of the corporate democracy. One vote, one corporation. So we need to personalize ideas. Nobody can own an idea anymore. All this copyright stuff is really, the big media companies are going to lose this battle, because people like people better than they like representations. And YouTube is, for the most part, a bunch of people talking to people. And, a lot of people are really good people, and they're real people, and they're not fake people designed by advertisers and producers to appeal to a certain kind of audience. I mean, and obviously it's easy to say that, only a certain kind of audience is going to watch these videos. But I'm not trying to appeal to any audience. I'm just speaking my mind and throwing my ideas out there to the winds of criticism, in hopes that they will be taken not as assertions, meaning not as that I want to be right about something, but just that I want to try to connect with others and figure things out together. Be critical of each other and analyze each other's thoughts, but if you only criticize and don't construct and create together, then you're not allowing evolution to progress. And the internet, I think, is really become an evolutionary squeeze that's speeding up the level of complexity of our culture and our language and our experience. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully I said something interesting. Thanks for listening.